Green Bay Packers taking down the Chicago Bears, and with that win, Jordan Love, in his first year as a full-time starter, sending the Pack to the playoffs. They seal that fate with this win over the bitter rival and the oldest rivalry in the game. But the story, well, that one's old as time as well. A Green Bay quarterback next to perfect against the Bears, putting their season to an end as well. In studio alongside the two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden, I'm your host Joe Musso. B-Mac, it's a story we've seen, but some different names authoring it. Jordan Love, spectacular. I mean, by the numbers, by the eye test, it doesn't get a whole lot better than what we saw out of the quarterback. With the back against the wall, as Green Bay's was in this moment against a rival, to perform that way tells you what?
This guy, he's growing. As a professional quarterback in the National Football League, he is embracing the moment. The moment is not too big for him. And playing against your rival in the division, as Joe mentioned, everything in the middle of the table, you have to deliver. Guess what? He delivered, plus more. And there's something about the Green Bay Packers when you talk about playing the quarterback for the organization. You love playing against the Chicago Bears. I mean, 2 ball games, I mean, almost 600 yards through the air, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in 2 ball games. That's Jordan Love against the Chicago Bears. I mean, and what he's doing right now, you can tell he has the trust in the coaches on the offensive staff, being able to be aggressive, taking shots on the football field. He's playing smart football, and they're just moving at a rate that we really, that surprises all of us. And Jordan Love is playing some of the best football in his young career in the more critical moments. And that's why this is a team, you can't overlook this team when you talk about playing in the playoffs. You know, this is a team that has a young quarterback, athletic. He has a very accurate arm, and he believes in his young pass catchers. And once again, this is a team that has thrived throwing the football without their best playmaker in Christian Watson.
If the shirt and tie don't tell you as much as you need to know, it's a story I've seen time and again. No matter who the quarterback is, great performances, yes, against the Bears, but Jordan Love looks to be the full package. If I'm doing some quick math right, that's 20 touchdowns and 2 interceptions since the start of November. I mean, this is when it really counts.
No question.
As you project this team forward behind this quarterback, to have that sort of confidence, regardless of what's around him defensively, run game, and the run game does look good, this is a live dog come NFC playoffs in Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, this Green Bay in the playoffs, they will make things very entertaining for us to watch, regardless of the opponent. And that's because of number 10, Jordan Love, as Joe mentioned, one of the hottest quarterbacks in the National Football League since the month of November. It's not about Thanksgiving. It's about what he's been delivered to around Christmas time, and yet and still delivering for the organization. Then you get a healthy Aaron Jones in the fold as well. We know what he means to their offense, especially running the football and then catching the football out of the backfield. Now you're getting healthy on the defensive side. Jair Alexander was back in the secondary from his suspension. He means a lot to their team. So this is a team right now that when you factor in what Green Bay was in the month of October compared to what we're seeing right now, 2 total different teams.
It has been spectacular to see what they have been able to accomplish down the stretch in these moments, in these months, when it all counts the most. Jordan Love has performed in a way that, I mean, screams franchise quarterback, and screamed it today in the face of the rival once again in the Chicago Bears. We're going to talk about the Chicago Bears here in a moment, but first, let's get you back out to the site where the lead voice of the NFL on CBS, Tony Romo, joins the conversation. Tony, you know this rivalry well. You and I both grew up around it more or less here, and these are the types of days that affect how they talk about your name in those rooms you are not in. Jordan Love's name gets a booster. I mean, some of the throws we saw in this game, spectacular. To have performed this way with the season on the line, I mean, what is your emerging thought about Jordan Love specifically?
Well, I always think about like the fan base or the organization, you know, the coaches, and just what you think of players. These are the days, like you said, that kind of define you, and you become that guy. Now all of a sudden he's clutch. And what you saw, he's improved every step of the way. And over the course of a season, one of the biggest parts for teams is development of your young players. And Jordan Love obviously has done that. But these receivers, I'm seeing signs of this team becoming a dominant offense like the 09, 10, 11, when this Packers team all all of a sudden took off, and no one knew how great the receivers were. They have a plethora of guys, but it all starts with Jordan Love, and he's playing as well as any quarterback, you know, for a while now. You guys touched on it since November. Like 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mean, he's on fire right now.
The off-platform stuff, the velocity of throws, even the one that got called incomplete at the back of the end zone might have been the best throw of the day from Love. Tony, I do have some folks in the Musso household back in Chicago blowing up my phone right now trying to figure out what the future looks like. From where you're sitting, 4 of the last 6, they seem to have turned a corner, but you can't check this final box against the rival. Now 10 straight against Green Bay going the wrong way. What do you see when you look at the future of Chicago?
Well, the biggest decision will be whether or not you bring back Justin Fields or you go draft the number 1 with the number 1 pick, a quarterback. I mean, if I'm in that position, as Poles and Eberflus will be, I think you evaluate the quarterbacks coming out. Obviously, the top guys, everyone knows about Caleb Williams. So to me, if you watch the tape and you see that he is that guy, that generational talent, well, then you all of a sudden have to take him. There's no question. You cannot pass that up. However, if you don't find that that guy is that guy and you think it's like maybe he's pretty good and okay, but to me, you have to go take a generational talent guy, and we're not even talking about the salary cap aspect of this team. If you go ahead and take him, you don't have to pay the $40 to $50 million you'll have to pay Fields, you know, in 18 months. And so, you know, today was huge for Justin Fields, and he played admirably, he played fine, but if he could have figured out a way to have a great game the way that Love did and put his team on his back and win, I think there was a chance that that could have been him here next year. But right now, I think it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like the type of game script that allowed Fields to run even enough plays to make such a statement here in Green Bay. It's going to be a question we can mull for the months to come before the draft here, but there's a more immediate question for Green Bay as they look towards playoff football. How do you project this team into the playoffs? I mean, quarterback playing with all the confidence in the world, effective run game. If the defense can rally, we're looking at a pretty real team, one of those teams with momentum playing into the postseason.
This is a challenging, you know, matchup for any team. You don't want to play this if you're a 2 or 3 seed. This is going to be one of the most talented 6 or 7 seeds you're going to see. Dallas is incredible at home. If they have to go to Dallas, that's a challenge for anybody, you know, and that's like even the 1 or 3 seeds. So to me, Green Bay does match up with them. Alexander will move around. He could guard CeeDee Lamb the whole game. That gives them a chance. They have pass rushers up front, and we know how this offense has morphed in the last 2 months. They've changed, really, from what they used to be with Rodgers. That presents issues for any team. And obviously, Detroit, they know them very well. If they have to go there, that's one of those other rivalry games, division opponent. So anything can happen in those games.
18 up, 18 down, and the real road to Vegas starts now. Tony Romo, lest we never forget, Burlington, Wisconsin is closer to Chicago than it is to Green Bay. The pride of Tony Romo spending some time. We appreciate you, pal. Back in studio alongside the 2-time champ, Bryant McFadden. B-Mac.
Yes, sir.
I got nothing else.
You do?
I got nothing else. I do. We got plenty coming throughout the hour here across all of the implications.
If you don't know, Joe.
It's a movie we've seen before. I'm an unbiased arbiter of the truth here on this show, B-Mac. As you look at the Bears, because we touched upon it a little bit, but Tony talked about it pretty frankly there, whether it's the money, the performance, there's a decision to be made in Chicago.
Yeah.
Do you think it's sound to be swayed one way or the other by this specific 60 minutes of football, or do you think this is just another data point for Chicago? You got to start beating the rival if you're Justin Fields, if you're the head coach, if you're anybody on that roster. How does today's result imply the decision that's yet to be made?
I think the decision is already made. And the reason why I feel that way is because I don't think there was anything significant that Justin Fields could do if he won the ball game, had an unbelievable performance. I think the decision was made. Now, more so if Justin Fields had a horrible ball game, it's more to talk about clearly if he threw 4 interceptions and they got blown out of the water. Competitive ball game, he didn't put forth his best effort. Heck, the same could be said for the entire team, and then the same could be said for the coaches on the sideline. So I think, me personally, if I was to be a part of the decision making with what to do with the number 1 pick or to do with the current quarterback in Justin Fields, I think I would stay with Justin Fields. Another thing that we're not talking enough about, Joe, and you're a Chicago Bears fan, I understand we have this question about what the Bears should do. Should they trade away the number 1 pick? Should they utilize it? If they do use the pick, should it be a quarterback? What about the coach and Matt Eberflus? Is he a guy that you believe, as a Chicago Bears fan or being a part of the organization, that he can lead this team in the direction in which they would like to go? Especially if you're drafting a young quarterback. Because me personally, and I'm going to ask you this question, have we really seen development from Justin Fields under this current staff? You look at some young quarterbacks in the National Football League that we have been applauding, right? Yes, as an individual, they've taken advantage of the opportunity, but because of their play, a lot of that has to do with the position they've been put in by their coaches. C.J. Stroud, we just watched Jordan Love. Granted, he's been around for quite some time. He hasn't started a lot. Jordan Love. There are a lot of young quarterbacks that have really emerged to be big-time playmakers for their said organization because they have the right structure offensively for them. The question to you is Eberflus the guy? If you keep Justin Fields or if you move on from Justin Fields and utilize the #1 pick on a guy like Caleb Williams?
I mean, from knowing that he was fired some month and a half ago to this defense rallying to being one of the best in the league, that's his unit. The defensive unit is Matt Eberflus's unit. So I think maybe this is more indicative of Luke Getsy, the play caller's job security in Chicago. I know that whether it be on Sports Talk Radio or on our airwaves on CBS Sports, on some of the podcasts, that's the job that is most certainly in question is Luke Getsy, because the game plan for Justin Fields, while there were moments that it looked like it was designed for him and the success was there weren't enough of those moments. So,
and that's the concern, because even if you move on from Justin Fields, you bring in a young guy in Caleb Williams, if there has been some issues with the play calling and the structure of the offensive scheme, it's going to look the same with the young player.
I'll say this. It's a roster ready to win. And if you're not ready to win as a rookie coming in, there's going to be a lot of pressure on whoever that is to win right now with this defensive unit, with the talent on offense and what they're going to do in free agency and with the pick.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a lot of pressure to beat the Packers too, and they do not do that on this day. 10 in a row with the Pack over the Bears. Taking a look at where they stand right now in the evening window. Close one, Seattle. Finally out in front of the Cardinals. Looked like Arizona might upset Seattle in that one. Inside 2 minutes there. Again, Packers in the barn.